prediction video for UFC Fight Night Santos versus Anders, and this card's kind of gone to hell. Like, it was decent at one point in time, but there's been so many injuries at this point. It's probably the most mediocre card of the year. But either way, let's start at the bottom. The first fight is I can't say this chick's full name, but it's Souza. She's really, really good versus Alice Chambers. And Souza's a really, really great jiu-jitsu fighter, and Alice Chambers is basically a jiu-jitsu fighter. But I feel like Souza's, she's like 12 years younger. And like I said, her record's way better. She's like 11-1, and 9 of her wins are like submission. I'm leaning towards Souza. Like I said, I just see this fight hitting the ground sooner or later, and she's just much better of a grappler. Both these chicks are jiu-jitsu ticks, but yeah, I got Souza winning by either first or second round submission. Next is Eloise Dos Santos versus Luigi. Can't say his last name. Luigi looks like a decent up-and-comer. He's 8-0 with a good mix of knockouts and submissions, but he's just fighting somebody way too good, in my opinion. He's a late notice replacement fighting a guy who's like, 6-1 in the UFC. Even though I thought Santos had lost some of those fights, I mean, he still looked really good in every single fight. And, props to Luigi for taking this fight on short notice. I think he'll make this fight fun. But like I said, I think Dos Santos' takedown defense is too good for this guy, and I think he's got too much firepower. I think he wins by knockout or TKO in the first or second round. Next is Thales Leites versus Hector Lombard, and this just kind of is a typical Hector Lombard thing. I think if he can knock out Leites in the first round, he'll win. But I think if Leites can drag this out, he'll win. His conditioning looked really good in his last fight. I think he just got caught. Either way, I'm leaning towards Leites. I think that he'll just turn this into a slow fight where he can, continuously push up against Hector Lombard and eventually tire him out. I don't know if he'll knock him out, but I think Leites wins a close decision, probably majority decision. But yeah, I just see Leites getting it. Next is Maya Bruno Silva versus Gillian Robertson. And Silva is, 4-0. She looks like she's decent everywhere. But it's hard for me to pick against Gillian Robertson because I've seen her fight in the UFC a few times. And her only loss was... She has 2 losses, one to some random chick, and the other one is to Cynthia Calvillo. So that's not a bad loss at all. And like I said, she's 2-0 in the UFC. She looked really good in both those fights. So I'm leaning towards Gillian Robertson. I think that, like I said, she's just more well-rounded. Both these chicks are pretty good everywhere, but I've just seen more of Gillian, so I'm leaning towards her. I say she wins by decision. Next is Sergio Moraes versus Ben Saunders, and this is kind of just who puts in their world. Sergio Moraes is the much better grappler, but I think Saunders is the much better striker. I think that Sergio Moraes leaves a lot of openings in his striking. He just likes to swing wild, and I think if Ben Saunders can tie him up with the Muay Thai clinch, he can knock him out. But if Moraes can get this to the ground, he's definitely much better. Like, Saunders is a good jiu-jitsu guy, but there's just levels to it, and I think Moraes is much better. I don't know. I just feel like Moraes doesn't try to take fights to the ground that often. Yeah, I don't know what changed, but he doesn't just kind of shoot and pull guard. And, I mean, when he does, he's just not very good at it. I feel like he should work on that because that's, like, his best weapon. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be a striking fight, and I think sooner or later Ben Saunders is going to tie him up, and when he does, he's got one of the best Muay Thai clinch games in MMA right now. I mean, we don't see it that often because guys break away as soon as he gets that close, but yeah, I think Ben Saunders is sooner or later going to tie him up and win by knockout. I just don't see Moraes shooting for takedowns like he should, and I think he's going to strike with him, and like I said, sooner or later, that Thai plum's going to come and he's going to knock him out with a knee. Next, onto the prelim card on Fox Sports, we got Augusto Sakai versus Chase Sherman, and Augusto Sakai is a really great fighter. He was 5-1 in Bellator. His one loss was a really close split decision loss to Czech Congo, and then he just won on Dana White's Looking for a Fight, the Brazilian version. So, he's like 11-1 with like 9 or 10 KOs. I feel like he's a better prospect at this point than Chase Sherman, just because I feel like I've seen Augusto Sakai beat a lot better people. I think these two guys are going to have a nice striking fight for as long as it lasts, but I think sooner or later Augusto Sakai is going to land the big shot and win by knockout. I just think his striking technique's better, so I'm leaning towards Augusto. Next, we got Luis Henrique versus Ryan Spawn, and to me, I feel like Luis is just better everywhere. I think Ryan Spawn's longer and has better like choke submissions, but I think wrestling and overall striking technique, Luis is better. It's just got the hiccup, sorry. If Luis can get this in the clinch and all that, I don't feel like Ryan Spawn was super impressive in either of his Dana White Looking for a Fights. I mean, he got that second win by quick guillotine, but finishing a guy really quick isn't super impressive to me. I mean, it is that one time, but I need to see consistent performances. I like seeing fights go the distance. That's when I feel like you can see how good somebody is. And I just feel like we've seen that with Luis. I mean, he looks really good everywhere. He's only lost to really good guys. He's only lost to that really good wrestler and that really good kickboxer guy and fucking Francis Ngannou. I can't remember all the guys, but you know what I mean? Like, he has a good mix of wins and losses in the UFC, but I feel like this drop down to 205. We're going to see him, really start to head up the ranks. I wouldn't be surprised if Luis isn't a top 15 guy within a year or two, but I think Luis uses his wrestling and gets like a TKO. So that's how I see it. Next, we got Francisco Trinaldo versus Evan Dunham, and if Evan Dunham can like put the pace on Trinaldo, he could probably win by like a third round submission or TKO. I think his wrestling's better and his conditioning's definitely way better. But I mean, Evan Dunham has already said he basically wants to retire after this fight, and I think he's fighting somebody who's a little too good. I think Trinaldo's just the much better striker. And we've seen Evan Dunham, he got finished in his last fight, and he's been finished several times before in his career. I see Trinaldo lining him up with punches, and I think sooner or later he's going to get the knockout. I just got him winning by first or second round KO. Next, we got Charles Oliveira versus Cristianos. Can't say his last name. And Cristianos is actually really exciting. He was in the UFC for a while. He was like 1-2, but every single fight was really close and really fun back and forth. He's gone like 8-2 since he left, I think, or like 6-2, something like that. And he's just a really fun guy to watch. He has a good mix of striking and grappling. But I just feel like Oliveira is better overall. Like, Cristianos is probably the better striker, but I just feel like he's not the greatest at defending takedowns. I feel like sooner or later Oliveira will drag this to the ground. And even though he has decent ground game, I just think Oliveira is just much better there. I think sooner or later Oliveira is going to win by submission. And this is what's going to happen. Probably in the first or second round, I got Oliveira winning by like rear naked choke or something like that. Next, we got Ronda Marcos versus Marina Rodriguez. And Marina looks really good. She's 10-0, but I don't know. She just hasn't fought anybody super amazing. And it's just hard for me to go against Randa in this fight. I think that she's going to get her to the ground, and when she does, I think she's going to win by submission. I don't know too much about this chick, so it's hard for me to make a good pick, but I'm just leaning towards Randa. Next, we got Renan Barão versus Andre Ewell. And, Andre looks really solid. He's primarily a striker. He's got some submission game. But I just feel like Barão has a massive advantage in grappling. I think that, Andre's been submitted a couple times, and, his record's just okay. He's like 13-4. I feel like they're really trying to give Barão a win here. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think if Barão is smart and takes this fight to the ground, which he should be able to, I feel like he doesn't use his wrestling and jiu-jitsu as much as he should, especially since he's better on the ground than he is striking. If he's smart and he mixes in the grappling with the striking, he should win by submission. Like I said, I think the first round he should be able to win by rear naked choke or something like that. It all depends on him. If he strikes with this guy for 3 rounds, he could get knocked out in the third because he gasses really hard. But if he really uses his wrestling and jiu-jitsu, I feel like Barão should win this fight easy in the first round with like submission. So that's what I'm leaning towards. Next is Sam Alvey versus Little Nog. And Little Nog's been fighting once a year for the last like 5 years, and he's gone like 2-3 in his last 5, and he just hasn't looked super impressive in any of those fights. I mean, the fight against Shogun was really entertaining, and then he got the knockout against Patrick Cummings, but for the most part, he's just super inactive, and then he kind of just loses. He's in his mid-40s now. He's like 42, 43. I feel like Sam Alvey, he's like 10 years younger. He fights way more often. And I just feel like, Nogueira could win this fight. I mean, there's an easy way to beat Sam Alvey. Just throw high volume and don't overcommit. Just stay on the outside and kind of throw a lot. But I don't see that happening. I just feel like Nogueira is going to try to box with him. And at this point, he's too slow to keep up with Sam. And I think I don't know if Sam will knock him out, but I just think Sam's going to edge out every round. So I got Sam winning by 30-27 decision. Next, we got Alex Oliveira versus Carlo. I can't say his last name, but Carlo looks really good. He beat 2 UFC fighters. Like, he won his UFC debut, but he also beat that really good UFC fighter that just got cut. So I mean, he's practically 2-0 in the UFC, even though that last fight wasn't in the UFC. But I just think Oliveira is way better. I think Oliveira is the better striker and grappler, and both these guys are primarily striker jiu-jitsu guys. I think that Oliveira is just going to catch him sooner or later, or take this to the ground and win by submission. Like I said, I just think he's way better everywhere, and that's how I see it. I think Oliveira is just going to light this dude up. Congrats for him to taking this fight on such short notice, but I just think he's fighting somebody way too good. Finally, we got Thiago Santos versus Eric Anders, and Eric Anders, to me, showed a crap load of holes in his last fight. I feel like he just showed that his striking isn't as technical as we thought. I felt like he was kind of getting outstruck that whole fight, and then he kind of clipped what's-his-face in the third, and then the guy was trying to get it back for most of that third round, and then he was just trying to force the stand-up and got knocked out with that head kick. But to me, it was like, it was 1-1, and then that third round was close, other than the fact that he dropped him with a jab in the beginning of that round. And I feel like Thiago Santos is a significantly better striker than that guy. And I feel like if Thiago Santos just keeps this standing, which he probably will because his takedown defense is really good, he should be able to either win a decision or maybe win by TKO with leg kicks or something. Because, like I said, Eric Anders isn't the best at defending strikes. I feel like that last fight just showed that Eric Anders has a lot of holes in his game. And I'm just leaning towards Santos. I say he wins by probably not decision, but I think TKO with like leg kicks or something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.